Field.
I'm calling Dr. Pamji Palmer.
Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to speak on the minimum wage contractor remuneration amendment bill in the committee of the whole House. Mr. Chair, the issue is that this bill is not going to deliver what it intends to. It's the way how it is proposed. The way this bill is proposed, Mr. Chair, is confusing, not just at one level that can be sorted, but is confusing at all levels. Because, Mr. Chair, this bill confuses employee and contractor status and expects that the industry out there, businesses out there, treat both employees and contractors the same way. Because this bill is to apply minimum wage to contractors the same way it applies to employees. But, Mr. Chair, this bill misses that employees get holiday pay on top of their hourly wage. And for ACC argument that we heard from the member who spoke before, their ACC earners levy is paid from deducted from their gross earning through PAYE. And for contractors, they will not be receiving any holiday pay, which employees get on top of their minimum hourly rate. And also they will be required to pay ACC earners levy and work levy. So there's a big difference in employee and contractor status. And contractors earning just the minimum wage is not going to help them earn more. Mr. Chair, we have heard a lot, even after the select committee process, from various people, because people are urging that this bill should not proceed, especially the business sector, those who represent businesses, because they see that this bill is based on some wrong assumptions. And because this bill is based on some wrong assumptions, Mr. Chair, it's confusing and it's also unworkable. Mr. Chair, during the select committee process, the member in charge of this bill was unable to provide us any concrete evidence. We heard some anecdotal stories, but there was no concrete evidence about how widespread this problem is. And because, Mr. Chair, we do acknowledge there is some problem, but we needed to know how big that problem is. Because we don't know how big that problem is, I don't see that it's necessary to amend our current legislation. Mr. Chair, we have heard from businesses saying that it's going to harm contractors. This bill is going to harm contractors. And, Mr. Chair, not just that, but this will create a lot of uncertainty in the business sector. And the example that the member used from day one, I like to use that same example of delivering flyers. Mr. Chair, if a person is delivering flyer for more than one client, who will be responsible for the enforcement of this legislation? Who will decide who should be that client, who will be responsible for paying the minimum wage to the contractor? Mr. Chair, this bill assumes that a contractor works only for one client at a time, which is not true. That is what I mean by wrong assumptions. So there are a lot of wrong assumptions in this. And to the member, for his contribution, he used the example of Masala restaurant, and I believe, Mr. Chair, that those people were employees, not contractors. So that's, again, a very, very confusing example given by the member. And we do acknowledge that the problem is there, but this bill is not going to address the problem. We need to know how widespread this problem is, and also because we need to look at the practical aspect of how we deliver this bill on the ground. That's really important, and it's confusing, it's not workable. And Mr. Chair, actually, I would like to ask the member to take the next call, member in charge of this bill, and tell us that why he assumes that contractors should be working for just one client at one time. And I also want to know from the member that how this confusing legislation is going to help contractors. What happens to the holiday pay and what happens to the ACC earners and work levy? I want to know that. And I also want to know from the member if he has done any evaluation on the value of a contribution.
I'm sorry to interrupt the honourable member. The time has come for me to leave the chair for the dinner break. This debate is interrupted, and I shall resume the chair at 7:30.